Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at a custom action figure display base created by Jummy O'Brien. I'm going to put a link to his Etsy store in the information box for this video, but he had contacted me letting me know that he creates these custom 3D printed diorama pieces for action figures, and let me pick one of the designs off of his site to review. So I decided to go with this one. It's a sewer backdrop, which probably the one that seemed least likely that I'd pick, seeing that a lot of the other ones were alien themed. But I thought this one looked really cool, really versatile, so let's take a closer look at it. Now, if you ever mess with anything that's 3D printed, you kind of know what you're getting into with something like this. But I gotta say, one of the things that usually bugs me about anything 3D printed that isn't really too obvious here are the lines. You can kind of make out in the background there's some horizontal lines in different areas. Here I'm particularly impressed with is the round sewer opening here that if you look really hard you can see that it is 3D printed, but it has a very smooth round shape to it, which is really impressive and something I was very curious to see how it was pulled off with this piece. And being a 3D printed piece but a hand painted piece, my assumption is that if you got the exact same piece I did, the shape would overall be the same, but the paint job's gonna vary a little bit. But the overall sculpt here is really cool looking. We've got these kind of jagged, sticking out pipes in different areas that look really nice, different kind of layers of texture to them. A similar one coming out the wall here on the side. Backdrop is pretty much flat, but we do have some bricks kind of protruding out of it, giving it a nice kind of industrial look. We have the big sewer pipe here in the center, all the individual little bricks laid around it. And then one of my favorite details, the thing that made me actually really want this one over the other ones, is the cool dripping down oozy slime, even if some bubbles forming there at the bottom. And then that leads into the bottom part of the base. We have the grate down there with some of the slime oozing into it. Then we have this back surface that's kind of flat, and the river of goo down here. Got some droplets of green coming over the side. Then a couple little panels of like tiles or bricks or whatever there in the front, where you could display more action figure stuff. I'm sure if you wanted this painted up in Ghostbusters River of Slime colors, you could probably persuade them to do that for you too. That would be actually pretty damn cool. But overall, I'm very impressed with how this piece came out. It's just really cool looking. To give you an idea of the size of it, it's roughly 5 3/4 inches across by about 8.5 inches tall. And before we get into the fun part and display it with a bunch of different action figures so you guys can see how they fit on this, I think I need to populate it out just a little bit more. There we go. What's a sewer without some rats, right? I think these are all from the Mezco Nosferatu figure, though one of them might have been with that McFarlane Alice Cooper. So as far as what figures look like and what scales work with this, well, let's start with the obvious. And we'll toss the vintage Donatello on there. And I think it works really well with the vintage turtle. If you're into the more modern stuff, here's the modern Playmates turtle. And here it is with one of the Playmates Classics turtles, the movie version of Michelangelo. Definitely a larger figure here, but I think it still works out pretty well in scale with the overall diorama. And just trying to hit a couple more kind of normal scale figures to give you an idea here. Here is a standard Marvel Legends. Here we've got the Hasbro Iron Man 2 figure, and I just realized I have the wrong damn head on this one. The Figuarts Vegito, which does use the Goku body mold, so it's pretty darn average for that line. You can even toss in a mini-mate. Here's the Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator. But you can take some creative shots or displays with this and really populate it out with a bunch of different mini-mates. And the cool thing about mini-mates is because you can pull their lower torso off, you can make it look like they're wading waist deep in the sludge. And to put kind of an average height NECA figure in here, here's Kyle Reese from the Terminator line. I think if you really want to set this thing off, you could add in some green lighting. I'm just using some green LEDs from those little finger lights you could find for $1 at Walgreens. I think that just really sets the diorama off, gives it a very eerie look for some figure photography. And I thought Baby Otachi here looked like just a kind of weird creature that you'd see crawling out of this sewer. So overall, I absolutely love this piece. I'm already planning to order a couple more because this thing is just so freaking cool. I want to see how the other ones are too. The other neat thing about these display bases is that they're scaled to work really well when you're displaying a bunch of figures on a shelf. They're narrow and tall, so they just make a really good backdrop for a single figure or a couple smaller figures. And I did talk to him about the possibility of doing something a little bit wider, something more for the photography vein rather than just displaying purposes. And I'm really excited to see what other designs he might come out with. I personally would love it if he put out some kind of creepy haunted cabin looking thing that we could use for all of our horror figures, and I think that would be really freaking cool. But definitely go ahead and check out his Etsy store. Once again, I have the link in the description. This thing's just just freaking badass. And if you have an action figure collection, it's definitely worth supporting his work and going up and picking up a couple of these to display behind your figures. Make sure you follow me on Instagram using the name Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been our Outside the Box Reviews. Stay tuned for more to come.